Ladies and gentlemen, one would think because I have a peak blade built on my account, as well as a Jing Liu, an Imbiber Lune, a Jing Yuan, King Yuan, one would think I have all these DPSs. Why the hell on God's green earth would I build up a base form Dan Heng? Then again, I am the most base there is, so why not play with base form Dan Heng? It's just very fitting. Imbiber Lune, throw that guy in the trash. This isn't even his final form. You don't need his final form. Let me tell you something. I used to play Dragon Ball Z Fighters. And I remember I used to play with Ultra Instinct Goku, Super Saiyan 2 Goku, Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And then lo and behold, one day I got on and tried out base form Goku. And I realized I was wasting my goddamn time playing with all those other forms. He was clapping the cheeks off shoulders with that KO cannon, that fat ass spirit bomb with the instant transmission. Bro hitting you with the meanest solar flare, throwing all the kicks. Listen here, guys, base form is all you need. All right, let's cut the jokes aside. I am going to showcase you guys how strong E6 Dan Heng is. A lot of y'all have been requesting this and have been very curious as to how he can perform in capable hands. And this is the video to deliver. The way we're going to go about this is first, I'm going to show you the footage by itself with some good music in the background. And then we'll go back over the footage and obviously give it a good analysis with regards to the strategies, how to use him properly, what are the bursty windows you're looking for, and how to bring ultimately the best damage out of him. I honestly think you guys will be quite surprised with the damage that this man is outputting, considering that most people think he's not that good or he's garbage and trash. Also, Pride has him in the C tier on single target damage. Yikes. Whoa, my man needs some respect on his name, brother. God bless him. Merca. Anyways, once you get done looking at all this stuff, we're going to go over the builds for each individual character so that you guys have a more profound comprehension with regards to how I made this happen. We did end up getting us a nice little clear time. We'll save that clear time for you to watch it with a fresh reaction here. And then once it's all said and done, I think you'll be quite surprised with the sustainer utilized on this composition as well. Enjoy, and I'll see you in a bit.
気迫を示せ。これで万全だ。速やかに作戦を調整しな。支援開始いたします。おや？敵データ捕獲マーク起動。愉快な反撃の時間です。騒ぎを起こしたり。我に力を。争いに我々はとうに嵐に踏み入った。守るべき者のために打ち崩せ。生死虚実同点元気超無一角。おや？敵データ捕獲マーク起動。愉快な反撃の時間です。代価を払ってもらう。騒ぎを起こしたか。怖いよ。みんなを守って。あっちは俺様だけで十分だ。我に力を。争いに意味はない。生死虚実一年のマナリ同点元気超無一角。敵データ収支捕獲マーク起動。愉快な反撃の時間です。避けられない一戦。我々はとうに嵐に踏み入った。守るべき者のために打ち崩せ。騒ぎを起こしたくはない。支援開始いたします。まだ立ち上がりますか？代価を払ってもらう。あっちは俺様だけで十分だ。
敵ターゲットを確認。ふん。敵データ捕獲マーク起動。愉快な反撃の時間です。はっ。みんなを守って。いた。
避けられない一戦。我に力を。
どけ。
我々はとうに
騒ぎを起こしたくはな。
守るべき者のために敵を打ち崩せ。
生死虚実一年のマナリ同点元気超無一角。はっ。
All right. Admit it. Were you surprised? Did he do more damage than you thought he would? Was he more capable than you thought he was? Is my brother deserving of the C tier? Or can he at least debatably be in the A tier? I think so. I want to go over a couple of things with regards to his kit that can be very insightful to somebody who may or may not be interested in playing with our boy Dan Heng base form Goku. One of the things I would like to point out is he's actually one of the much more mechanically challenging characters to utilize, because there's a couple of kit intricacies inside of his kit that makes him a very bursty character, and if you don't time the windows correctly, you just butcher his damage. One of them is he can slow with his skill. He can literally slow somebody down with his skill, and this lasts for 2 turns, and then he has an ultimate that deals damage, but then it gets a massive multiplier increase if the target is slowed. So welt's a good synergy with him, by the way. You can do sustain welt with this comp if you want to, but ideally you never want to ult with Dan Heng unless they're slowed, which if you watch the showcase, I'm never not going to ult with him, or every time you see me ult with him, they are slowed thanks to him slowing them with his skill. So that's one of the intricacies you have to pay close attention to and manage. The other one is his penetration. Brother has a armor pen, except obviously in Hoyoverse terms, for Honkai Star Rail, it's going to be called a elemental resistance penetration. So if the enemy has a resistance to the wind element, he's penetrating the shit out of it. And if they are already weak to the wind element, then that penetration turns into multiplicative damage bonus, which is insane. Dan is actually one of the strongest single target units in the game, which is hilarious. I know you may not believe that, but his ult is insane and his skill is insane. It's just really high multipliers. So that's where Bronya comes in. Your supportive options come in. You'll notice throughout the run, I was auto attacking a lot with Bronya because she advances herself forward with the auto attack. And furthermore, Dan is one of the most greediest motherfuckers in the game when it comes to skill point funneling. He's always using his skill and he's very fast. And then with a Bronya, he's always coming up back to the line. So you have to manage skill points quite efficiently. So Huahua and Bronya, you'll see I'm doing a shit ton of auto attacks, as well as Pella too, except in the beginning phase. You'll notice that I had to get rid of those 2 pesky little annoying fuckers who like to self-revive. I had to get rid of them with Pella. That was one of the biggest problems and challenges with getting our 2-cycle clear with Dan Heng, seeing as his biggest weakness is he does no AoE damage. So Pella's job was to get rid of the self-revive people so that we could 0 cycle that first cycle. And her skill, if you may not know, strips people. So she strips them, prevents them from self-reviving, and then GG's, right? The final kicker to that first phase is ensuring that we kill the monkey with Dan Heng's ult, thus triggering his E4 to make him go instantly again. And that was primarily imperative to funnel a skill point with his auto attack afterwards. Because like I said, a lot of it goes into managing skill points around him. He's a very, very skill point hungry unit. I am excited to try him out with Hanya, if I'm being honest. But getting back on track, Bronya and Pella. Pella, obviously, I built her as a offensive DPS because she also needed to be strong enough to kill those pesky little units on the side as well. So we had to build her for crit Pella. You know what I mean? Patella. That's so corny. Anyways, Bronya is the best in slot support in the game for Dan Heng because she brings him to the front line, thus already activating his penetration. If he's targeted by anything, from anyone on your team, his passive triggers where the next attack is going to deal penetration damage. And that is yet again another intricacy that you have to manage with Dan Heng, because sometimes you'll trigger it accidentally by like healing him with Hua or whatever healer you have. You'll trigger it accidentally, his ult's not up yet, and now you're going to use it on his skill, which is fine, but ideally you want that penetration to go on his ult. But there's a lot of times you'll see, even in the run there, I'm using it on his skill because that's just the way the progression of the fight is going. But Bronya's a best in slot character. She brings him up, she gives him the 100% damage bonus between her skill and her light cone, and then when she ults, that's just a ridiculous amount of damage given to Dan Heng. Not to mention you can either run her with the new energy recharge set that gives 10% damage bonus. It's pretty much a planetary rendezvous, right, to the same elements on your team, or you can run her with the effect resistance set giving 10% crit damage to Dan Heng. Between her and Hua, I was running both sets to make him even stronger from supportive units. And then finally we have Pella to bring their defense down so that Dan Heng can do the most damage. Now, considering all of these variables, notice that every time I ult with him, their defense is down from Pella's ult, and Bronya has brought him back up to the field. They're also already slowed. These are a lot of variables that go into those big numbers you're watching. And Dan Heng, being the bursty character that he is, has to capitalize on these windows. Otherwise, his damage goes all the way the fuck down the drain. And then to end off the explanation of how I did all this, Hua. She's a very good sustainer for Dan Heng. Not only does she provide that little extra energy to help everybody reach their ults faster, but the 40% attack boost given to him for 2 turns is also a massive boost, given that he's very similar to his his upgrade in Barber de Lune. His ult is a ridiculously high multiplier scaling off of your attack. So if you have somebody on the team giving more attack to him, that is, the more the merrier. And that is pretty much what I have to say about our boy base form Dan Heng. I hope this video was entertaining and also insightful. As always, thank you so much for watching and supporting the channel. Peace, love, and happiness. I'll catch you guys on the flip side.